Welcome, everyone. This is Pilot Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at latest in LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week we have with us Calabathian.
It's gonna be a good night.
And Krister.
Hello.
Hello there. And yes, we actually have a great deal of stuff that is on the agenda. Then that is because, first off, we had another Bulwer update for update 30.3. This is beta number 4, where, of course, they will continue on our looks into the Brawler and into the updated legendary items. And I actually got a chance to get on this time and play around with the legendary item system and the updates that are coming along with that. We'll discuss that a little bit more when we get into a document that was released this week. But they do finally have the new library open in Rivendell. They might have had that open up I think they might have had that open up on update number 3, but it looks like they have all the little hooks in there, but there are still several details that they still need to iron out over the next couple weeks, because they're planning on actually releasing the update in 11 days from the recording of this episode.
I thought that it was going to be November.
November is for update 31 for
Oh,
Gundabad.
okay.
30.3 is scheduled for October 13th.
Okay. So what all going to be in 30.3?
Brawler and legendary items.
Okay. Because see, I know Terry's not on tonight, but she thought Brawler was actually not happening until November, along with Gundabad.
No. Brawler happens in October.
Okay.
October 13th.
Okay.
Barring anything
unforeseen.
Anything unforeseen. Anything that's announced, of course, has this big asterisk after it. Barring anything unforeseen.
If all goes to plan.
If all goes to plan, yes. And anyway, they're just tweaking the abilities of the Brawler, and we'll be learning about that. Now, they did note that they also give a slight boost to monster players because they figure that they're going to run into some troubles without a little bit of a boost. So there was a slight boost going on that side. We'll see.
I honestly hadn't considered that when we're getting new allies that monster players would need to be tweaked somehow.
Yeah.
But it makes sense.
We'll see how that goes because
I'm gonna have to get on the moors on Arc just to kind of see who's yelling about what. See how the wind is blowing, because everybody complains. So I want to go see what everybody's complaining about.
You'll have to do that in 2 weeks after the update goes live, unless you do it on the forward.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying, whenever it comes down to it, I'm gonna have to do that.
Yes. Now let's then go on into the other item that was announced here, and that's because pre-orders for Fate of Gundabad are now available. And this is which means that there was a small patch also on Monday, and the small patch was pretty much getting all the stuff for the pre-orders up inside of there. The stuff that there's being released immediately is in there, plus a tweak to the instrument carry-alls. So not much happening on that update. But this is what's being included. There are 3 bundles in there. It's the same thing as been in the recent years. You have your standard edition, your collector's edition, and your ultimate fan bundle. So the standard edition is $39.99. The collector's edition, $79.99. And the ultimate fan bundle, $129.99. So $40, $80, $130. I think that's about the same price we've had for the last couple of expansions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So which one is it that Drac offered
So
to a few of us.
okay, that was the alright, the press keys, those were related to the Ultimate Fan Bundle.
Okay, because I wasn't sure. I was like, "Hold up." But yeah, okay. That's
Eh,
fine.
and I think you might have noticed a die carry-all pop up into a
Yes, I noticed that die carry. I was like, "Ooh, hello.
yes.
Hello, my love.
Well, they designed
You're
their
looking mighty fine."
they designed those tiers appropriately too, because they for the ultimate thing, the only thing that would appeal to me is that they put some cosmetics into that. They don't have any other ones, because now I'm like, I have to have
Yes.
those cosmetics. I have to see what they look like.
Well, if you wanna see what they look like, you could always look at Fibro Jedi's.
I mean, I want to see what they look like on me.
Oh, on you! Ah,
Well,
alright. Let's
you
go
as
into
you as a player or your characters? Because you as a player, I don't. You're gonna have to do some sewing.
Well, Calabathian, I'm a veteran of many Photoshop skirmishes, so often I will
I
put my
see.
face
Okay.
on my
Oh, God.
on my
I thought
various
that
characters.
I thought you were saying that you're a professional cosplayer, so
Yeah, I was about to
No,
say. Oh, okay. Well,
I
my
prefer to
bad.
watch other people do
okay.
that.
Let me give the rundown of what's being included in the packages. First off, all of them are gonna include the Fate of Gundabad content, of course.
Well, that's good because I would hate to get like the ultimate fan bundle and lose.
Oh, you
Yes.
wanted the content. Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
you want
Yeah,
the
that's
content. Yes. That's right. This will have the content in there. That'll be the quests and the instances and the quests, the instances, and the missions that are all associated with Gundabad.
Yes, because if you don't get them, then you not only do are you discontent, you yeah.
Alright, and second, they'll all include the brawler class,
Yay.
and because there are some people, sans Winda, who might have all of their character slots full, they're also providing one extra character slot
oh yeah.
so that you don't have to worry about not having a free slot for your brawler that you create.
Okay, so if the brawler class is actually coming out in 30.3 in like 2 weeks,
Yeah,
but Gundabad's not until November,
yeah.
so is that just they're including the brawler class with Gundabad just for those people who choose not to make it one in a brawler in 2 weeks?
No, what some of the things that are in these pre-orders are delivered immediately. Some are gonna be delivered with 30.3, such as the brawler, and then some of the and whatever's left, of course, has to wait till Gundabad is released, like the content. Obviously, you're
Okay.
not gonna get the content until Gundabad releases. The brawler class, you'll get upon the release of 30.3. Of course, if you order it after 30.3, then you'll get it upon order in that case. The
Yeah.
extra slot at it's the same time as the brawler class.
Yeah, Pine Leaf Sands was asking, because it looks like she has all her character slots unlocked. So she's asking, if you have your max number, are you going to be able to get one more? Are you going to be able to get 51 character slots?
They give
Oh,
you
that
extra
is
extra.
that's an well, so you're wondering whether or not it'll increase the max to 51 because you've already got 50 of them. Hmm. That's an interesting question. I am hoping that they're gonna have an additional character slot that's being added to the total
Yeah.
max, because otherwise you're not going to be happy, Sans.
And
You're
plus
gonna have
Sands,
it's gonna be time to look at your characters and go, someone's gotta go.
which one of my 10 captains should I get rid of?
You are the weakest link. Goodbye. Someone's getting voted off this island.
Boy, 50 characters. I can barely play one, and so 50 characters is incredible to me. That's just incredible.
Ah, Sans Winda.
And Sam's saying she can't get rid of any of them. That's like when I'm finally saying, okay, I'm going to clean out my garage, and then I find a reason to keep every single thing that was in there, so I don't throw anything away.
Yes. All right. Now let's just hope that she is able to find that at some point. Now we also have the expedition supplies. There's a different versions of the expedition supplies depending on whether you have the standard, collectors, or ultimate. The standard expedition supply boxes are 5 100% XP boosts, which can be, I guess, useful when you're questing once the level cap goes up, because the level cap is increasing to 140. That was announced.
Okay, because I was getting a little
And
confused. I'm like, why are we getting XP boosts if we're going up to cap?
Yeah.
With a level boost to 130.
So
yeah, okay.
and also it could be that one of the things is some people might be wanting to use these XP boosts in order to help them to get to 130 so that they could start the Gundabad content, which is why they delivered that immediately instead of waiting until the release of Gundabad. So yes, for my 130 characters, obviously they're going to be sitting around until Gundabad's released. Now, if you have the collector's edition, not only do you get those 100% XP boosts, but you could also get 5 reputation acceleration tomes, a virtue XP accelerator, and 5 rare crafting components. And for the ultimate edition, not only do you get those things I just mentioned for the collector's edition,
Wait, there's
but
more.
yes, but wait, there is more. That's right. You'll also get 10,000 virtue XP and, as Calbathian learned, a large die carryall.
Yes. It's dead sexy, y'all.
I know. I made sure that the first server I logged into after ordering this was Lantro. Oh, that's right. The expedition supplies box only goes to the first character you log into after you put in the order.
And I
So
wasted it on Arrow to the Knee,
yeah.
who I play maybe twice a year.
Well, you can transfer it to someone in the same server since it is bound to account
Yes.
instead of
I
character.
rarely play people in Arkenstone, but I will do it. I'll do it.
Yeah, that's the thing is I made sure that I logged into Langeable first because I figured the die carry all would be better off
Hopefully they'll offer
that
like
binding.
die carryalls for sale
Yeah, I know
at
people
some
are already
point,
requesting that. Maybe
and
they'll
then I
have
can.
mediums for sale or something like that,
Anything
perhaps.
would help to get some of those dies out of my storage, my shared storage. Even though but yeah, that would be so nice.
Okay.
So I could get some room going. Anyway.
Very well. So that's what we have on there. Now, things that we have in the collector's edition plus also in the Ultimate Fans Bundle, because the Ultimate Fans Bundle gets the same thing that's in the collector's edition. First off, and a Valor, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. A
But
level boost to 130.
yeah, now
Right?
when they give you the level boost to 130, I know in the past other Valars have given you like an LI and all this other stuff to go with it, but since they're doing LI revamp right now, that level boost to 130, that's why they haven't given it to us right now, I'm sure.
I'm
But is
pretty sure that's the reason why they haven't given it
yeah.
to us yet.
So are they intending to do an LI with the level 130 boost on that, or are they not?
I am. When we get to the FAQ, we'll check about that and see if they what
Okay.
questions they have there. All right,
Yeah, because I
because
wasn't real sure. I
yeah,
was like, oh,
yes,
and if they do, if they did, would it be old or would it be new style? Because I know they're still
I'm
doing
pretty
stuff.
sure if there's an LI with it, it'll be new style. Because the old style, because the Valor's being delivered on the same day that the new LI system is going into effect.
And if they didn't give us an LI, it would be really nice if they could just give us stuff to help boost our LI as like a little jump start.
Well, we'll
I'm not
see.
saying scrolls because I don't think we're gonna have scrolls anymore, but I'm just saying.
Right,
Just
we'll see about that. Yes, some
unless someone
script,
wants to give me a
yes.
scroll, I mean,
All
it's
right.
fine.
Also, you will get a Brawler Leveling Gauntlet Box. This is still the collectors plus ultimate editions in here. Bonus Leveling Gauntlet Box. What this is essentially is this is a box that you open up every once in a while when you're leveling. You know those little boxes that you get when you first start a character that every
Yep.
few levels you open it up, you get some small freebies plus the next box. I think that's what this is going to be like. It's going to give you a pair of gauntlets that are for the level you just reached, plus the next box, which is going to be available in a few levels after that. That's my guess. Essentially, it's going to be some gauntlets in a box that you open up. And that way, because
What's in a box?
rewards are, because we're sure that the quest rewards are going to be a little bit tricky at the beginning. This is just to make it a little bit easier on you when you're going up on there. So that's the Brawler Leveling Gauntlet Box.
Yeah, I hope the level 1 is just a pair of rubber gloves.
You snap.
For love.
Hey, who put this gauntlet in a box?
Yes. Now, there are also some supplies that you get for the upper ones. If you have the Gunabad Delving Supply, which is the one you get with the Collector's Edition, then they have a Gunabad Toolkit. We'll talk about the toolkit later. And if you have the Ultimate Edition, you get the Ultimate Delving Supplies, which not only includes the Gunabad Toolkit, but also 5 more rare crafting components that launch Fateful Toolkit and a crafting tokens in a Steam times 5. And I believe that's one of those things that's going to be delivered on November 10th at launch, probably to your first character. I think that's one of those things that goes to your first character that you log into afterwards. And Gunabad Reclaimer Cosmetic Outfit and Cloak, Gunabad Reclaimer Mount and War Steed Appearance, Fateful Gunabad Cosmetic Outfit and Cloak, and the Fateful Gunabad Cosmetic Outfit and Cloak, and Fateful Gunabad Thunder Boar and War Steed Appearances. The Fateful stuff goes with the Ultimate Edition. The Reclaimer goes with the Collector's Edition and the Ultimate Edition.
It's like the name Thunderboar.
Yes.
I'm just sitting here like, is it like a pig that just shoots lightning out of its like snout or something?
I think that the lightning is coming out of the hooves as it's going around the ground. At least that's what it looked like on Fibro Jedi's video. You could try. Why don't you try writing it?
Right.
I mean,
Oh my!
you got one,
I get to
right?
ride a Thunderboar on the moors. Oh, well. Anyway, arrow to the knee, my poor little guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Remember the cosmetics and the mounts, they go to all of your characters.
Yes, I will have to try that then.
Okay.
And it doesn't
Now,
matter what server they're on, right? It's all
right.
characters.
Yeah,
All
it
characters
goes all
everywhere.
characters. Okay, yes. All
Yes.
right. Now, if you have all right. So the collector's edition or higher gets you Dwarf Friend as a title, and the ultimate edition gets you the title Duran's Champion. Also, cosmetic pets. If you've got the collector's plus ultimate edition, you get a pet, Ukrash, which
I believe its name is Pincher.
yeah, Pincher is the name of this thing because it has these crab-like claws at the front.
They squish like grape.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out exactly how to classify that thing because I'm thinking that it seems like a cross between a lobster and a scorpion or something like that. And also a cosmetic, if you have the ultimate edition, a cosmetic pet crystal grim.
I believe its name is Facet.
Oh, that
Something like
sounds
that.
like an appropriate name.
And I happen to have seen that last night when we were running stairs. And it's a pretty cool custom.
All right. And also some additional things for the Ultimate Edition. Equipable XP Accelerator to 130. This is an earring, I believe. Is it an earring or an armband? Anyway, something
I think it's
like
an earring.
yeah, I think it's an earring. Yeah, so it's an earring. It's so similar to the elf earrings that you've got to the previous ones.
Mm-hmm.
So now I've got when I start a new character, I'll have 3 earrings, but only 2 ears. So.
You got a nose, don't you?
What, you can't wear more than one earring in an ear?
Well,
or is that too edgelord for you?
well, you're only allowed to have one magical earring in each ear.
I think that, I think you're right. I think that was in the Constitution, if I'm not mistaken.
And you can get an exclusive housing teleport item. In other words, something similar to the Mordor door. That instead goes to Gundabad. So obviously that won't be delivered until Gundabad is released, because finding yourself inside Gundabad before then would be a little bit tough.
Well, it says it'll be delivered on October 13th.
What, the housing teleport item? I think that
there's a star, but see,
yeah, but the star also talks about but it says
November. They need to separate
November
those
10th.
so that we know.
They needed 2 different stars for that. They needed a single asterisk and a double asterisk in order to really do that properly. And then a cosmetic weapon aura.
Yes. Unfortunately, you can't put like an aura on one and then I guess an aura on another. It just
no,
you can.
Well, actually, what you do is you put the aura into your wardrobe. Then you could.
And you glow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything you wear glows.
Yes. Now, I should note that the 2 higher tiers, they'd have one thing new about them that they didn't have before, and that is that they give you an option to upgrade instead of buy. So therefore, if you buy the regular edition and decide, oh, I really wanted that collector's or ultimate edition, you can upgrade afterwards.
How much would it be for the upgrade? Is it still the same amount?
Or I haven't the slightest idea. Yes.
Oh gosh.
Yes, I don't know what the cost is because, I won't be seeing that option. Now that is it for there. So we have an FAQ that went out with it where they answered this, where they talk about the top items in here. New class, play the brawler, customize items with the new legendary item system, and lead the charge into battle. And they says, can you purchase the expansion with LOTRO points? And if you want to buy it with LOTRO points, that'll go on sale on May 2022. And it will cost $29.95 for the base edition, and with the brawler being 1,000 points. So therefore, there'll be $39.95 for both the brawler and the base edition on there. And if you want an extra character slot, you're going to have to buy that the usual way. So in other words, that's just so they'll be selling the base edition with the Fate of Gunbad quests, missions, and instances in one package, and the brawler in a separate package. And how do I add the expansion to my existing LOTRO account? Well, when you make the purchase, that's when that happens. You can play the brawler as of October 13, as I said before. And if I don't pre-purchase the expansion, can I still buy the expansion bonus items at a later time? At this time, the Standard Edition, Collector's Edition, Ultimate Edition will remain available after the launch of Fate of Gunabad expansion. While the expansions will still be available at the LOTRO market, please note that you will be unable to purchase the additional exclusive items through the LOTRO store for points. And how many character level boosts will I get with my Ultimate or Collector's expansions? Of course, there'll be one of those. First character you log into. After that goes into effect, I pre-purchase the expansion, but oh no, we'll worry about that later. Let's see. What are the expedition supplies that are listed? I already described those. That's the virtues and all that. Let's see. It's and of course they do have in the linked item, they do show pictures with the cosmetics in there. So on the top, they show with the horse, the armor, and that crab-like thing. And then the Fateful set they show under that with the Grim, the Thunderboar, and a dwarf wearing the armor set. What's in the Gauntlet Box? The Gauntlet Box gives you a new brawler weapon to fight with as you progress through the game. As your brawler gets to a higher level, simply get the new package and receive the Gauntlet sets up to level 130, though I suspect that most brawlers might have exchanged that for LIs by the time they got to 130, but just in case, they're going to they'll continue to be able to have them being able to brought out until 130. What happens to legendary items in Gunabad? Your existing legendary items will be able to be converted into ingredients that will boost your new legendary item, and you'll also be able to continue to use your existing legendary items if you wish to. What's inside the Delving Supplies? Delving Supplies will help you with the Fate of Gundabad launches. They are only available in the Collector's Edition or the Ultimate Fan Bundle and arrive on launch day. The Ultimate Delving Supplies for the Ultimate Fan Bundle include the new currency boosting Fateful Toolkit and 5 crafting guild tokens of esteem. Gundabad Delving Supplies for Collector's Edition also include new currency boosting Gundabad Toolkit. And what do you mean by that? And the currency boosting toolkit. These are universal toolkits that give plus 10% bonus on earnings for Wallet Festival tokens and Wallet Landscape tokens. The Gundabad toolkit provides the bonus earnings and content levels 130 through 140, while the Faithful toolkit works on content levels 1 through 140.
Wow.
I'm gonna lie, I read that it was like Wallet Festival tokens, and I'm like, we have a Wallet Festival? Ignore me, y'all. Ignore me.
Now,
I have been writing papers and stuff all day, so my English inability to English and speak and brain right now is a little bit weird.
mm-hmm. I would have thought that English. I would have thought that English was your specialty.
It is, but do you know how much effort it takes and how much energy it takes to brain?
Okay, yes, it's. I guess after reading 25 malformed essays,
Yes,
it does drive you wondering: Are we speaking the same language?
mm-hmm.
I need to attend the Wallet Festival.
Yes.
That's a declaration you make after reading 10 of those, and it's 5 in the morning, right?
Yes. I must attend the Wallet Festival. Fetch my carriage.
Right. Now, as for allegiances, that's one of the things that they announced here is that there will be a new allegiance, the Jorucca Dwarves, and this is the first allegiance they've added since Mordor. Because we had the 4 allegiances in the original Mordor that you pick up over at Udun, but you haven't had any since then. So I had thought they completely decided to dump that system, but there'll be a new allegiance in this one for the Jorucca.
Sure, because remember, it's the 12 steps to
I know. Starting a dwarven
Yep.
war in 12 easy steps.
Yep, and now we've got the Jorucca as an allegiance. I'm waiting for the other allegiances for the other dwarves to come up, and yeah.
Well, you got to remember is that the Stout Axes are a relatively small group, so there isn't quite an allegiance available for them, and we've already done an allegiance for the Longbeards.
So I don't know. Maybe there'll be something with like the return of the stout axes, and suddenly we'll
Well,
get in allegiance.
well, we could see what happens when the cousins of the stout axes arrive, because we were wondering what kind of tension will be between the stout axes and the other members of their tribe arrive, and how well they're going to mix together.
Yeah, because wasn't there like supposed to be 7 different
Yes, and
dwarf?
the Jorucca, they're an offshoot of one of those 7. I mean the stout axes.
Yeah. Yes, because
Alright.
I was about to say, I don't think we've met all 7 of the dwarf
Well, you meet them if
clans.
you run into them in the update 30 content.
Well, I haven't quite gotten through that yet, Pine.
Yeah. Yes. What level are you right now?
Um, my actual played person is like 120,
Oh, okay, yeah, you got a few more levels before you're gonna get up
and
there.
we're still kind of working on him because I haven't.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a while. I got a
Okay, you got a
while.
little bit of while on there. Alright, and final question is, how big is the die carryall? The large die carryall holds up to 50 stacks of dice, up to 500 dice per stack.
As
Note
well as
that
all of my hopes and dreams.
yes, and I tried to think, are there 50 different types of dice?
It's
Yeah,
pretty. It, no, I don't think 50 by any
yeah,
stretch of the imagination, but there
Yet.
are a
yes.
variety.
Note that dice placed inside the large die carryall will lose the crafted by text. The large die carryall is bound to a guide, because if they retained the crafted by text and you bought them from several different crafters in the warehouse, then you'd fill up all your stacks that way. So, in order to ensure that each set of turquoise, I mean, if you have 500 turquoise dice, they'll all be stacked together. They'd have to make sure that
You
they're
have 500 turquoise dies. What are you doing with all that turquoise? It's
well,
like those old
Dying.
man problems. Like, Joe goes out and buys 50 watermelons. What's he gonna do with 50 watermelons?
I don't
Paint them
know.
turquoise.
Apparently make turquoise. But I mean, seriously.
And anyway, that's the FAQ talking about. They also posted an article on the new LI system, your new legendary items explained. They talk about how you get your legendary item or weapon, and that if you are a one who's just leveling up and getting to the regular content, in other words, getting ready to get into Moria, then you'll receive your first legendary item at around level 50 when you get ready to enter the Mines of Moria. So the old quest that used to give you a legendary item has been tweaked to give you the new legendary item instead. I was on Bulwer and I did test out that particular quest line in there. There are one or two things that could use some polishing in there, but it pretty much gives you the stuff you need in there. Like, for example, in the old one, they used to where they ask you to slot one of the relics because they give you your legendary item, you slot the legendary item, and then they says, okay, now you should put in your relic. And then after you put in your relic, he says, okay, that was a good choice, no matter which one you put in, even if it was the worst choice you could possibly have been made. What they did in this case is they ask you to put in one of the traceries instead, but they don't require you to put in the tracery before he says good choice, because the tracery has a minimum level of 50 and I was doing the quest at level 48. So I couldn't plug it in. So I guess they knew that it'd be a little problem for someone who's below level 50. So they just by bypass the requirement of actually doing that, putting in the tracery in there. But anyway, you get your first one when you do that quest, and you can start putting traceries and the like into there when you get to level 50. And there is an archive in the Last Homely House where you could, let's say that if you don't do the Moria quest, but you still wanted your legendary item, then what you could, especially if you want to convert from the old system to the new system, then you go to the last homely house, and on the second floor, there is now an archive of traceries up there in the last homely house. And they have, inside the archive, they have, could you say, 3 sections to the room. The first section is just your entry spot. The second one, they have all the traceries for the various classes, and they have them on bookshelves. So there are 12 bookshelves in there. So since there are 11 classes, 11 of them are activatable. I should note that they are double leveled. In other words, you have one on the, you have half of them are on the bottom and half of them are up on top of them. Like, for example, I noticed that the hunter one is just above the warden one, which is why I noticed it. At first, I thought they were taking the full height, but then, okay, that's where the other half. I was wondering where the other half of them were when I was in there. So you go to there and you have some script in there and you use that script in order to buy your traceries inside the archive. Now, one important thing I should note to you, that if you have an old style LI, you cannot equip your new style LI until you unequipped both of your old style ones. I know that was confusing me. I had thought that if I double clicked and tried to equip the new style one, it'll unequip both old style ones. No, you must unequip both of the old ones first, because if you don't, it's not going to let you do it. It'll give you an error saying that you don't meet the requirements or something like that, because it says barring trait. There's a barring trait on there, and if you see barring trait red, it means you have one of the old LIs equipped in. You must unequip that. Now, that doesn't count the bridles, because the bridles aren't being counted in all of this. And
Well,
there said they'll
speaking,
worry about bridles later.
yeah, speaking about requirements, I know that with the old LIs,
Yeah.
it was you had to get an LI to even get into Moria. You couldn't actually get through that without doing your LI. Is that still going to be like a gateway thing there with the new ones, or can you actually bypass that and just not and go into Moria without messing with an LI?
I don't think there's any way, because you can't get into Moria until you do Watcher of the Water,
Yeah,
and you can't do Watcher of the Water without getting an LI.
yeah.
You might just ignore the thing.
Well, I mean, just because
Oh,
you had
that's right. You
mentioned,
need an LI in order to defeat the Watcher of the Water.
yeah, and I know, and you had just mentioned that if you wanted to bypass, there at the gates of Moria, you could get it at in Rivendell at the library, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Well,
but
I'm oh, I'm talking about, okay, maybe bypass was the wrong word. I should do that. But it is like, for example, what if you have a level 130 character who already has the old style LI, and you're not going to get one by rerunning the Watcher in the Water.
mhm,
What you're going to be doing instead is you're going to be going to Rivendell in order to do it. That's why there's this
okay,
alternate case for those people
okay.
who have already done Moria and all.
Okay. All right. That makes more sense because I was
Okay.
sitting there going, wait a
Yeah. Okay.
minute.
Okay.
If to
Okay.
get into
Yeah.
more, you have to.
Yeah, and Sans is saying here that you should be able to technically go into the back door of Moria without unlocking Moria now.
Well, yes, there is going to the back door that I suppose you could do. But if you're going to be doing the epic quest, I think you'll still have to go through the front door in order to do the epic quest in Moria, right? Because I think the only on-ramp is book 1.
Yeah, exactly. So you could do quests in there, but not the epic.
Yeah, you'd be able to do the regular quest, but not the epic. I think it's better off just to do the quest, and if you don't want a legendary item, then you just let the thing sit in your vault and rot, I guess. Now, once you have your legendary item, you can place traceries onto it to increase its power. And the traceries there are 4 types of those. You have the heraldic tracery, which are your stat buffs. There's only one of these on each of your items. These are your stat buffs and your damage type for your weapon and things like that. You can have one of those for each of your slotted items. So you
Boy.
have, yeah.
Oh, the traceries. I'm having this vision of like tracings and that like on my sword. It's like, look, I've got 2 cows, a kitty, I've got 3 flowers, and a bumblebee.
Well, I will presume that there are runes being traced upon your weapon to give them power.
Mine is lace work.
Hey, that could be a type. I'm sure that there are some societies that would expect lace work to have power in it instead of runes, right? That would sound more like a Celtic thing than a Nordic thing, but
Yeah.
all right. Words. Yes.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and it could have henna traceries where they fade over time, and so then you can just reset it every 30 uses or something.
All right. The second type of tracery are the words of power, and these are specialized traceries that are meant to fill various roles in your weapons and items. These are effectively what were the various roles and weapons of power, including damage and healing types, like area of effect, single target, healing damage time. These traceries are also used to get avoidance, incoming damage reduction, morale increase, induction speed, and things more. So there are sort of general things in there. Weapons have 2 of these word of power slots. Class items have 3 word of power slots. And I should note that hunters' bows and wardens' javelins are being treated as class items for this purpose, so that wardens and hunters won't get gypped out of an extra tracery in there.
That's good. I would have hated to have rioted.
Yes. Then third type, yes. Third type of tracery are the words of mastery, and these are pretty much the replacement for legacies, because you get 6 of them on each of your items in here. And you could unlock additional words of master tracery over time, because I think you start out with a small number of them, and as time goes along, you get additional ones maybe until you get up to 6 at the current cap. So it looks like they say that there might be more of them in the future. We'll have to see. But anyway, the cap that we currently have will be 6 of them. And they're similar to, as I said, whatever your legacies are. And I know that one of the items that I saw complaining in the Warrens forum that they're complaining about are that none of the traceries they felt were any good. Obviously, well, what did you expect? I mean, all the Warden legacies were pretty bad. So what you expected the traceries to be any better?
You had one chance and you blew it.
Yes.
Let's revamp the LI system. Okay, are we going to improve any of these things for wardens? Nah. Let's just leave them like crap.
Oh, we'll have to see. Hopefully, they will get something better by then. I've seen. Then we have finally the words of craft, and these provide single stat increases that also provide various set bonuses. I noticed the set bonuses seem to be associated with certain types, like there's one related to light that helps to amplify the light damage that you do. And I noticed that there are set bonuses with that. So if you have, looks like if you have 2 on your weapon and 2 on your class item, then you have a total of 4, and they give you a set bonus in there. So unlike the others, the words of craft, you can have multiples of the same one, while on the words of power and the words of mastery, those are unique, and you could only have 1 of each on your 2 legendary items. Now, I mean, say that's 1 total. So if you have 12 words of mastery, 6 on your item and 6 on your weapon, that means you have to have 12 different ones. You can't have duplicates.
Oh, words of mastery in total. That's a lot of vocabulary, man.
Well, they are ultimately doing what I was really hoping that they would do, is because especially with the armor set bonuses, it was so frustrating that these seemed to be only a brief flash in the pan as we just simply up leveled that stuff, and these set bonuses that you loved couldn't be carried forward. I'd love to see them readdress that with armor too. So.
Yeah. Now, just remember that traceries have level ranges. Because therefore, instead of getting a new weapon, you have to re-etch your weapon every so often in order to revigorate the power, I guess.
It's a new Duracell battery.
Yes, actually, it's a new Duracell battery. So they have range, but there is overlap in the ranges, so that they don't so your traceries don't drop dead immediately upon going into the next band.
So finally, Sans is asking, so wait, can you lose your weapon stats now? Like you lose your pants if you level up?
Yeah.
Sounds like that's the case. So.
Well, yes. Well, we're hoping though that by the time you get late into the next level band, that you've already been able to improve your traceries by then.
Aside, Sans, if you lose your pants, there's always going to be a ranger nearby to hand you some of his.
I didn't realize that was a function of the Rangers.
Yep. Every time you turn around, you do something for the Rangers. They're like, "Here's my pants," and it's like, "I don't want your pants."
Thank you for helping me cross the street. Here's my pants.
Exactly.
Yes. Anyway, one thing that they note in here, ancient script, which is what you use in order to buy your stuff, which is something that you get when you convert, when you hit convert on your, I guess I should talk about convert, is that the old legendary item panel, when you bring that up and it shows your old legendary items in there, there's a button called convert, and you could hit convert on there, and what that does is it analyzes your weapon and then gives you a certain amount of ancient script. And I noticed that when I did that on my 130 Warden, when I did that conversion, they gave me about 5,000 ancient script for each of them, for my weapon plus my weapon and my class item, my javelin. They gave me about 5,000 each. My weapon a little bit more. I think my weapon gave a little bit more than 5,000. My javelin gave a little bit less than that. So I think if you have two high-end ones, you might hit the cap of 10,000 just by analyzing those two. That would
be irritating.
Yeah. Fortunately, it looks like that the cap, that if you go over on the cap, you don't lose. It's not a hard cap at 10,000. It's a soft cap, meaning I think it's that you can't do any more. You can't have any more items added to it. But if you go over 10,000, I think it gives you that overage in there. But
okay.
So at least that's what it seemed to be. I'm hoping that wasn't a bug, and that's what they do. So because you get 5,001 swap by hitting that convert button, and if you were at 9,990 when you hit it, and you say, "What do you mean I just lost 5?" That would have been a bit irritating. So
absolutely, yes, exactly.
Yes.
But now, even when we're doing this, Pine, we're not losing our original LI is not being destroyed at that point.
No, it's not being destroyed. It is still around. So if you wanted to use it for cosmetic purposes or something like that, it's still there. Or I guess you could, as long as you swapped in both of the LIs. Remember, since you can't mix the streams. But if you want to be able to use your old LI and your old item for some reason, then yes, you could swap back to that. Now, I should note that all the items that you have on your panel can be converted. So you do have
Right.
that. So, and in fact, that's when I learned that it will allow about, as I said, what happens if you go over on there is because after I spent all my script trying to get my spear up to snuff, then I said, oh, okay, now let's start converting the other ones. So I converted the other ones, and that's where I went a little bit over 10,000 when I added all the other ones in there. Because I think I had maybe about 4,000 left, plus whatever the other items. The other items were not imbued, and they didn't have as much invested into it, so they obviously had a much smaller payout on there.
Right. And how'd you feel about once you rebuilt your weapon? Did you feel like they said? Do you feel like you got it close to what it was, or to the
Well,
equivalent of what it was?
I'm going to be doing a better assessment when it goes live because right now I did some skirmishes and it seems like my power is comparable. I didn't run any numbers on there and I didn't compare it to what's going on live. So I am going to have to do some work on that so I could do some comparisons back and forth. I'm going to save that till live probably when I do that and see what kind of numbers I'm getting now and then after the thing goes live. And I ran a few skirmishes in there and I seem to be going into the skirmishes reasonably well.
Good. I'm liking what I'm seeing
Yes.
with the changes. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this does.
We'll see how it actually works in practice. That's when it goes live and all there. As I said, there are some people who are. I know there's some complaints about champions relating to how much damage they're doing, and I know there's some complaints from wardens because they don't like the words of mastery that are in there, but wardens complaining about about that particular item in there. The legacies is certainly nothing new because I know that I think one of my jokes is that I've got. Yeah, don't worry about what's on my 5th or 6th legacy because none of them were any good anyway. So that was part of being a warden. So I think that I think actually some of the complaints in there is that I think I think some of them have some use to someone who's about my level of play style, but I can understand that many of them do not look like that they're going to be great for someone who's trying to get a raid build or something like that. I think that there are enough decent legacies if you are on a casual build like I am. Maybe for 6s, but raids, yeah, I could see that some of those legs, like for example, there's one legacy that I would always take, and that had to do with careful step. A raider doesn't care 2 bits about careful step
Right.
probably. It's probably going to be completely useless in a raiding environment. In a regular questing environment, I really love that thing because it allows me to get around and sometimes bypass some battles because I don't feel like going through the tedium of finding every single mob that's in the way. So to me, that's a nice tracery, but I could see how someone who's mainly going through instances may consider that to be junk.
But that's why you have an ally for each circumstance. See?
Yes. Well, yes, but if you start to level different types of allies, then that gets pretty expensive. And I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit tougher to invest in 2 sets of allies than it was in the past. That may be something where there's going to be some potential. Because I noticed that now I didn't have full sets in there, but I thought that the amount I was able to get up I wasn't able to get away up all the way, but then I suppose I didn't have full potential of my item anyway. Oh yes, one very important piece of advice today. You're going to get at some point these enhancement things. Essentially, they're like the old enhancement runes where you used to put in XP, and these help to power you up and increase the level of your tracery. Whatever you do, use the purple ones first. Then use the cyan ones. Then, when they're available, use the golden. The reason for that is that they have level cap. The difference between them is their level cap. So you don't want to start spending your cyan ones until you've got all of your purple ones. And you want to spend the purple ones on those lower levels, because you need those cyan ones to get from 130 to from 120 to, no, I think it's at 115, or it's whatever the level goes. Actually, they have that in the FAQ, I believe, where they're talking about they each have a level, and you'll be able to read that when they come into there. But I think it's like, for example, it might be 115, 130, 145, or something like that. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that actually it's 120, 130, 145. So you want to make sure that you spend the purple ones, getting them up to 420, because item level is what they're talking about in there. So that they're getting them up to 420. Then you could use the cyan ones in order to get to 430. I think that would have been more optimal. So I didn't do it in the optimal way because I didn't understand this as I was doing it. And thank goodness I made that mistake on Bulwer rather than on live. But I got pretty much full anyway. Yeah.
I said if you're going to make a mistake, that's the best place to make it.
Best place to make the mistake is on Bulwer. And I think I was able to get a few more. Enhancements things by spending script, maybe. There's a possibility on that in order to make up for the error in there. The idea there is make sure you spend your purple stuff first before the latter ones. It's sort of similar to what we had to do when you were going with the old enhancement scrolls, where you wanted to spend your enhancement, the old scrolls that we had in order to get up to during the lower levels. You want to spend the lower level ones in order to move up on the lower level ones before you go to the higher ones. I just didn't understand that the idea there now is relating to the item level. And that is it for the FAQ. It's on the article there relating to your new legendary items. There is a link to that. And finally, we have the LOTRO beacon. Where looks like they are taking stuff relating to, there's a brawler on the LOTRO beacon this week. Getting ready to brawl. Yeah, punch him in the face.
Punch him in the face.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in the community spotlight. Fibro Jedi delves into the Ultimate Fan Edition of Fate of Gundabad, and you can see the screenshots for more on his blog. And for the cosmetics, he included quick YouTube videos so that you see them. They're very they didn't have any sound to them, and they're very short snippets. The idea there was to show you what they look like so that you could turn around so you could see all sides of the armor, and that you could see the Grim spinning around and the pseudo crab moving about. And Eowyn has created a video offering a full in-depth look at the new legendary item system arriving on update 30.3, and you can read more about that on the forums. And I should note that this video is essentially PowerPoint slides. Is probably the best way to describe these. So it's text. There isn't any talking here. It is text going around each piece, bit by bit in there. Decademolo is holding in a next housing contest, and you read more information on that on their website. Paulton Finbury is organizing Endurance Day on October 16th on Crick Hollow. You read more about that on the LOTRO forums. And the Weed Hollow Harvest Festival takes place on October 16th on Crick Hollow. And I would presume that date was chosen because that's the first Saturday of the Harvest Math Festival. And the Indigo Plant Invitational Concert takes place on October 16th on Langerville. And you get more information on the concert at LOTRO Artists. Kin Hall. The company is a friendly and casual kinship on the Treebird server with both European and Eastern time zone players. The kinship runs weekly raids and more. Read more on the LOTRO forums. I hope there's more than just the weekly raids, because then it wouldn't be too much of a casual kinship. All they did was raid.
It can be casually raiding.
Okay, yes, there is a kinship called Casual Raiders. You have a point there. That I guess they're not worried about being first on server, and
it's always casual Friday for what you wear.
Right.
And they're not worrying about trying to get up to tier 4 or anything like that.
If everybody shows up with a lore master, they'll just run it like that.
That might be a little bit too casual. Now let's go into the weekly comment. Durin has forged an alliance of the dwarf clans to retake Gundabad. What did you forge an alliance of dwarf clans to do?
Dishes in this house.
I'm sure they rallied with enthusiasm around that. Let's go wash dishes.
Yes, but you remember what they say? They're all singing, crack the... Was it smash the dishes, crack the plates? Yes. Yes, an alliance of dwarves to do the dishes. That would be quite a feat in there.
Maybe do some laundry too while you're at it.
Sansa's saying that she forged an alliance of dwarves to tame Mumax.
To tame Mumax.
I'm surprised that she wouldn't forge a dwarf alliance to just wipe out every spider that we could find anywhere and every crevice anywhere.
Yes, actually, you're right. I am sure that is... Yeah, she is typing now and giving a response to that. Yes, I am sure that she wants to be able to rid the world of every spider in existence. So, let's see. I would say...
She wants an Arcane and LM alliance for that spider thing. Lots of fire.
Nuke it from orbit.
Nuke it from orbit.
Nuke it from... We can... If you want to satellite strike, you'll have to also add a few minstrels to the mix.
Wampla, get your Pibgorn ready. We have a strike from orbit coming.
Strike from orbit coming. Yes.
Still never going to understand how I can't use some of my minstrel stuff with my Pibgorn, with my instrument stuff,
right?
Because the enemy's not in line of sight.
They should at least correct it to is not in line of sound.
Yeah, I'm like, it's literally behind a branch. I think it can hear me just fine.
Well, if a 5-inch fire can block your line of sight for shooting a bow over the top of it, I guess that a twig could block all sound.
Yeah. All right. Let's head into the fan site news. Last week we wondered about wargs. Carrick, Avalron Gaming.
Like rah rah rah, bark bark bark, grr, wargs.
Well, yeah.
No, he said like wargs, and I'm like, yes, wargs. Sorry, go ahead.
Karak Avalon Gaming shows you how to get the Unwise title.
I believe that has to do with the deadly cheese, doesn't it?
Yes. LOTRO Streams, your first stop for LOTRO on Twitter. This week, Sky Manic journeys into Moria. Big Ed fights in Mordor. And Drew's Fire celebrates Bilbo's birthday. And also on Twitch, Stina has the new Thunderboar. Thunder runs tier 5 of Fall of Khazad-dûm, and Adelie Valthorn continues the Black Book of Mordor. And over on YouTube, Ending Fire.
Oh no, I thought you said what? I was like, no, we're good. We're good. Continue.
Over on YouTube, Ending Fire looks at the pre-purchase bonuses. Laurel Urudagnir shows the new weapon aura, and Disenchanted hosts their weekly concert. And remember that Fedagunabot is now available for pre-purchase, and that we still have the coupon code for getting all of the quests, currently available quests for free, non-expansion quests, that is. Fedagunabot, right, you get more information about the legendary items. We already talked about that. And also, for the screenshot of the week,
Nimia Vaz.
Yes. Nimia Vaz from the Brazilian kinship Fios de Urin on Arkenstone pets a horse at a kinship home in this week's screenshot of the week. And you can submit your screenshot for consideration by emailing it to lotro@standingstonegames.com.
I like that comparison. I'm wondering what it is.
I'm wondering how it dies.
Well, it probably dies very easily. You just set fire to it.
Yeah, but does it make any sound?
It is, but what color is it after you set fire to it?
Black.
Okay.
Hopefully it's like a hypercolor t-shirt, where it's warmer.
It's like, ooh.
All right. Come out the end. Would you like to read this week's store sale?
Oh, I suppose. So, store sales. Wait a minute. Let me find them. Oh, they were being covered. I'm sorry. Store sales. We're going to be virtuous like Samwise because we can get 25% off of Virtue Acceleration Tomes, trait slots, skill, and Slayer Deed boosts. So skill and Slayer Deeds are like the grinds of the century. Take this 25% off while you can. Now through October 7th. And our weekly coupon, we get a free tome of tracking. Ooh. With your coupon code, Get Tracking. There's no G on that, though. It's GETTRACKIN.
Well, there's a G at the beginning.
Yes. I mean, there's no G at the end. It's not tracking. It's a southern tracking. It's Get Tracking, not Get Tracking. And that's also through October 7th.
Let's head into our weekend gaming. And Krister, what were you up to?
Well, talking about the legendary items changes, I'm pretty excited about it, but I'm also a little bit sad because I don't know if you've had the same experience I've had playing LOTRO, which I thought the most hysterical thing ever in this entire game was naming these things that are more common than sand legendary items. I just think it's hysterical that legendary, we have 10 trillion legendary items just floating around Middle Earth, and they're more they're just so common. So what distinguished for me, what made something legendary, is the person that actually forged it. So I've got a two-handed sword that I've been using forever that was forged by a player that hasn't played the game in like 8 years. And to me, that's legendary. That's the legendary part of that weapon, is that this player who isn't around anymore will never make anything again. That I have a weapon that this player made. And so it saddens me a bit that it seems like the changes that we're making really kind of flush those away, because they're going to be replaced by these new creations. So I'm just a little bit sad about that, I have to admit. So that's why I was asking about it earlier, because I'll probably, just out of nostalgia, because I still have, level 50 gear for my captain that I worked so hard for. I was so bitter when they made changes where I'd have to give it up or I'd have to surrender it, if it be leveled up or whatnot, that I refused to throw it away simply because I worked too hard to get that stupid piece of gear. And I'm just not going to toss it away because I just killed a baby orc and the armor that fell off of it is 500 times better than what I'm wearing.
Well, yes, I understand. It's, the thing I feel nostalgia for is my javelin on my main warden is called the Needle. And I'm going to lose that name because you can't name a legendary item with the word needle in it anymore.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Oh.
because that went into effect a couple of years ago. So that was all my recent like my honor warden. I don't have a legendary item called the Needle because you're no longer allowed to use that name.
Oh boy, yeah. Okay, good. Well, not good, but I mean, at least you you understand where I'm coming from. So
Yeah,
that's
I'm
brutal.
sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know where you're coming from because my two legendary items that I've been working so hard on are this Pew Pew Must Not Die and Down with Scrolls. So I'm just saying I might be a little bitter. There's really no nostalgia there. There's just, like, dang it, now I've got to start all over.
Yeah, so I truly I'm excited for the changes. I think they're good. I really like the concept of being able to maybe even configure your set bonuses and whatnot. So that's pretty exciting to me.
We'll see how you feel in 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. I've got to actually use it. So and then we just haven't been able to muster the numbers for raids the last couple of weeks, but we have mustered enough to do 6-man. So we did stairs. Over and over again. Last night went very smoothly because everybody's pretty much pretty well equipped now. So I'm assuming that now that Gundabad is on the horizon, we're going to see a lot more people coming back. And,
did lots of cardio, huh?
That's right. We're just doing our training, train. And the reason that I check out a lot of every single kind of festival and stuff that's going on is simply to see what the cosmetics are and if they're new ones, and that will motivate me to do anything for a particular festival. So I just the treasure thing was up, so I went over and checked it out, and I guess I didn't really pay much attention to this before, but I noticed a variety of carrying chickens, and I was fascinated by that because I didn't know that carrying chickens was some kind of thing in Middle Earth, and so I really want to see if I feel like using these chickens in a variety of ways could be beneficial. Like if I had 6 chickens and somebody pushed me off, and I was carrying them, and somebody pushed me off a wall or a cliff, would those chickens be able to, kind of break my fall by flapping their wings? And I'm thinking yes. So I was thinking that maybe
fall?
like a safe fall, or that you have like 30 chickens and that's your that's your flying mount, and you can fly. The chickens just fly you around. And that'd be cool if you could do the chicken golfing thing too, where you can launch the chickens at will. So you could just have like a chicken attack chicken copter that just has chicken missiles that you can fire. Maybe I should shut up.
No. I've got visions now of like the movie Up, where he tied a bunch of balloons to a house. You see this little hobbit with a bunch of chickens on ends of rope, and they're just flying him around, and he's in a little seat and everything.
Now, the one thing we have to put in consideration is that whatever contraption you're sitting in better have an umbrella. That's just all. So that was my week. Kelly Matthew, how was your week?
Not nearly as interesting as being carried off by chickens. Not very much, actually, because there was some stuff going on this week. But my Friday night academy, we decided we wanted to run on Arkenstone, and that I had a 120 over there, and he's my baby 120 hunter. He's called Arrow to the Knee. And we ran some skirmishes with him. But here's the thing with Arrow to the Knee. He is an Ariad character, high elf, and he's part of a group where we got all of, like several characters together to run the Moors that were freshly minted, and Valard 120 characters with like their gear that you get from the Valar, like for armor, and I think we all had pig mounts too or something like that. But we did it to basically try to prove a point that you can do that and go on to the Moors and be all right without having to worry about LIs and gear and all this other stuff like people had been yelling about at the time. So yeah, we actually did pretty good that way. I might even have mentioned it at some point in the past when we did it. But he's my 120 on Arkenstone, and he's my only one. So he is not very. Let's put it this way: all of his virtues are like 1 of 66, or 0 of 66. He's but I took him out, and kind of got a couple things going with him, and went through some skirmishes with him. Just because it was a 120, and we tried to jump right into it, and then realized that I had yet to even go through my skirmish training that usually do at level 20. So while I did that, everybody else went and did a skirmish, and then we did a couple of skirmishes, and yeah, it was actually kind of interesting. I think I died once because one of the enemy's lieutenants put the reflect kind of thing on me, and I actually didn't notice it. So I'm totally firing at him from a distance and killed myself that way. Oops. But yeah, still interesting. And anyway, I like doing the high elf as a hunter because you have to do that prissy little like leg up thing when you're shooting, and I'm like, dude, chill, you do too much. So then of course there was Star Wars. The one time I played Star Wars, or I could play, I ran through copious enemies, shooting and stabbing on my operative, and then remembered that the operative, unlike the sniper, can sneak.
That's a painful realization at that point.
Yeah.
Wait, I could have bypassed all of this?
Yes. Anyway, that was my week. So other than actually having a way too clingy cat attached to me, in order to do anything I have to like detach the 13-pound growth on my shoulder and remove him so that I can I don't know, type, because otherwise he would stay on me for a while. But Pine Leaf, how about you? How was your week?
All right, I'll begin with my Crick Hollow Warden, who cleared out some loose ends in the questing log. I decided I wanted to finish up a couple of loose end quests that I still had in the update 30 zone in there. So now my quest log looks a lot cleaner now. I was also cleaning out my inventory, doing some much needed inventory management, seeing what all I have in there. I also did some cooking to make sure that I had plenty of food so that when update 31 comes out, I'll be able to handle whatever gets thrown at me. And I'll, I guess, also be ready to handle the testing that I'll be doing for the LI to see how that works out. Then on my Honor Warden, I helped some dwarves to learn about the fate of their king. But, well, I was killing some cultists in order to read some letters that they were writing around. But it's nice of those cultists to be carrying around letters written in Westron on them. I mean, they're from Mordor. Black Numenorians from Mordor. You think, what? Their native language is probably the Black speech, but they did the courtesy of writing these missives in Westron so that I would be able to read them. It was really kind of them.
They were really thinking of you.
They were must have been thinking about me in that case, yes.
It's like a gift.
Yes. And over in DDO, I journeyed into the Feywild, and then I entered into a Temple of Elemental Evil in order to help to deal with that. And listening to Will Wheaton talk about his history with role-playing games.
Wait, was he the evil in the temple then?
No, Will Wheaton was the game master for that particular item in there.
You have been mesmerized by Will.
I've been mesmerized, yes. There you go. And we currently have... Well, actually, our top supporter this month is LOTRObuild.com. LOTRObuild.com is a full LOTRO database that includes an items database, a relics database, and a titles database. And you could use LOTRObuild.com straight from Discord with a LOTRObuild bot. We currently have 16 supporters on Patreon, and if you'd like to join this illustrious array of players and help support LOTRO players, you can go to the donations page. You can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money would be used for podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. We did not receive any emails this week, but if you like this one, you can send it to podcast@lotroplayers.com. We can also host a Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, Loach Players at Loach Players, Arendis at Arendis, Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles, Sanswinda at Sanswinda, Terryadwin at Terryadwin, Guarendis at Guarendis, Calabathian at Calabathian, and Krister is Chicken.
What?
The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News, and on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. at US Eastern Time, we have Loach Players News. You can source for our shows at loachplayers.com/live. And remember, Loach Players Podcast is now found on Amazon Music and Audible. That is all for tonight, and this is Punk Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.